Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live, the flagship show of the United Stand. Remember when we just used to do this once a week? How it has changed. Solskjaer or Pochettino, will definitely be talking about that. The fans seem to have decided, but look, I think we need to talk about that. Top four, Sheffield United winning yet again. But first of all, I want to make an apology because the United Stand is not Mark Goldbridge. It is not me. My opinion is not the United Stand and it must never be that. I will express my opinion, but you can make your own mind up. I thought by now, after 5 years, people figured that out. But still, you get people on social media saying the United Stand are pushing this agenda, they're pushing that agenda. That's not how it works. That's why we try to get different opinions. And I always try to have an opinion, but give both sides. Now, we did a video this morning, which some would say was quite controversial. Well, I thought Fred's comments were quite controversial. Fred basically saying that there is no leadership at United, that there is no creativity at United, that there's vanity in the dressing room. Quite damning stuff. And I said that reflects badly on Solskjaer. I had people attacking me today. Well, not attacking me really, but just sort of like saying that, oh, you know, you've totally ignored what Fred said about Solskjaer. And I did because I didn't think it was relevant. However, you know, I correct and say, look, I'll read out what Fred said about Solskjaer because maybe I should have done it this morning. But to me, I'll tell you why I didn't think it was worthwhile, but I'll tell you now. Fred said about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's a great person, he's a great coach, it's a new job, he's a young coach, he's had his ups and downs like every coach and every player has, but he's improving and I'm sure he will improve a lot and help us get us where we want to be. That was Fred's comment in relation to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. To me, I don't doubt the genuine nature of Fred's comments there, but does it not worry you that Fred is talking about his coach and saying he's young? He'll have his ups and downs. He's in a new job and he's improving. I mean, this is the problem. This is the problem. And I think Fred likes Solskjaer and I think he believes in him and I think he's backing him. But how sad is it that a player of Manchester United is basically holding the hand of the manager? He's basically like, come on, you can do it. He's young, he's inexperienced, he's learning on the job, he'll get there in the end. I mean, that is a problem as far as I'm concerned. That is a major problem. And Fred did back the manager and Fred did say those things. But it doesn't, to me, it's not a massive vote of confidence when a player says, I really like Solskjaer, he's young, he's improving, he's going to have ups and downs. To me, that goes higher than Solskjaer. That goes to the recruitment. You know, why are we recruiting a player why are we recruiting a manager where players are sympathetic to that manager and saying, yeah, it's right that he'll learn on the job? But just going back to what was said this morning, I did have people saying to me, saying that you're wrong. You're wrong. You said it reflects badly on Solskjaer. Why does it reflect badly on Solskjaer? Well, as I said on the video this morning, if I'm going to work tomorrow and I'm the manager of a team and I've heard over the weekend one of my staff has said, we've got no creativity, we've got vanity in the dressing room, and we've got no leaders, I, as the manager of that shop floor, will take the blame for that because I'm in charge of that floor. And if people aren't doing their job, and we've got, you know, big egos in the dressing room, and we've got no leadership, then that reflects on me because I'm leading that team. So that does reflect on me, and that's what I was trying to say this morning. I suppose it's a little bit like, look, if you... Right, okay, let me give it in this sense. We're back in the restaurant again. You order a burger and fries, right? You get your burger and fries. A restaurant critic comes in and says, what did you think about your burger and fries? Well, there wasn't any ketchup on my burger. I'd like a bit more lettuce. The chips were cold. But I really like the chef. Right, okay. So you're not criticising the chef, but you're criticising the product. Yeah. Okay, who made the burger and who made the chips? Well, the chef, but he's learning on the job, and I think he'll get better in the future, and I really do like the chef. Oh, right, so you're not really having a go at the chef. What they've produced isn't good enough, but you like the chef. Yeah, okay, that's not confusing then, is it? The real message is you don't like the product, the food is cold, and it's the chef's fault, but you don't want to go that far because you like the chef. That's my interpretation of it, but you have your own. You have your own. That's what I'm trying to say. Mine was my opinion this morning. Lots of people have their own. I love that you've got your own. We've got the call in tomorrow, so maybe you want to call in and have your say about that. But what we're going to be talking about tonight is Solskjaer against Pochettino. Really interesting this. Really interesting. And I do want to get into the comments about this. Really, really interesting. Sheffield United won today to go 4 points clear of Manchester United. They have got a game in hand on us, but as you know, our next 5 games, Chelsea away. I mean, if that's the game in hand, which it is, I mean, do you fancy us to win? I think we need to win. Then we've got Everton, then we've got Watford, then we've got Man City, then we've got Spurs. You look at Sheffield United's next 4 games, I think they've got Brighton, Norwich, Newcastle, all winnable games. So we're looking at Chelsea, but now we're looking at Sheffield United as well. I'm starting to worry, not about Champions League football, I'm starting to worry whether we're going to have any European football, and there's very good reason for thinking that. The interesting thing was, I tweeted off at my account tonight, at Mark Goldbridge, and I said, I'm genuinely getting worried. That late winner by Sheffield, I never thought I'd say Sheffield United late winner has ruined my Sunday, but I was like, we really needed them to drop points today because they're ahead of us. And a load of people in my replies were going, good, gets Pochettino in sooner. Which brings me to my question. There are a lot of people, it seems to be, especially on Twitter, and they're basically saying that they want United to miss out on top 6 because it will mean that Solskjaer gets the sack and we get Pochettino in. Now, look, I've already said, listen up. I've said this already. I will give Ollie till May. That's where I'm at. I don't want an interim manager. It makes me want to throw up. I cannot put up with another interim manager. And there's no way that a Nagelsmann or a Pochettino are taking this job any time before May. So I will give Ollie till May. That's what I will do for whatever that counts. So that's where I'm at with that. So everyone's saying sack Ollie now. To me, that's not where my mindset is because I don't think that solves any problems. You may as well give him till May. And I think the club will definitely give him till May at the least. But my question to you is, where do you sit on this now? Are you actually saying, like many people are, I hope we miss out on top 6 because then he'll definitely get the sack and we'll get a new manager in? Are we in that now? Are we going to take that pain of no European football next year to get rid of Ollie? Would you do that? Or would you rather we did get Champions League football or Europa League football and maybe keep Ollie? We still might get rid of him, but to me, I'm not going to sit on the fence, I won't. For me, I don't want to sacrifice European football. If I've got the option now of Champions League football and Ollie in August, or no Champions League football, no Europa League football and Poch in August, I'm sorry, I'm going for Champions League because I think if we don't have European football next season, then we're in big trouble, massive trouble, because people think, well, if we've got no European football, it's a big wake-up call to the club. I tell you what, they've had 10 alarm clocks going off for the last 6 years. They've had the biggest wake-up call ever. They've had people banging on their door. Like tannoys, we are crap, spend some money. If we do not have European football next season, that's about 20 games less. No European football, no match day revenue, no sponsorships drop. You think we're going to go and spend money? I think we need European football. I give Ollie one more game, Agallo and Bruno FC, says Elvin Jahad. And welcome to the United Stand Members Club, Clark Foy, welcome. And Zayn Miassi says, Mark, the only way of getting European football is beating Arsenal in the Europa Cup final, Pep's prodigy against Ollie. Well, I don't disagree with that. I really don't disagree with that. I think that we might have to win the Champions League because top 4 is looking hard. We've got to beat Chelsea a week on Monday. Again, we're talking about a game that is probably our biggest of the season. And as an early prediction, it'll probably end up being a point. I want top 4 and Ollie out, says Gail Adam. I'm going to come back to that one. I think that's a very, very good point. And you said you will keep Ollie for 2 years if you sign Bruno. You're a flip-flopper, says Donny Singh. Yeah, mate, when I said that, we weren't even linked to Bruno Fernandes. And I'm sure if I said to you, I'm sure you would say something stupid like, I'll eat my own pants if we win the Premier League. Well, imagine if we won the Premier League, everyone suddenly stopped playing and we won the Premier League. Are you going to go and eat your own pants? No, you're not. I'm not giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 2 years. He's lucky I'm giving him 6 months. I will give him till the summer. A lot of people wouldn't do that. I did say after the Burnley game, that's it. I've had enough. So I am going to give him another 6 months. That's better than nothing. So that's where I stand on that. But I could. If we don't get European football, how would I give him next season? That would just be a total and utter lie. So no, I'm not going to do that. Do you really think Ollie can get top 4? Says Don Snaps. Then he's put laugh out loud, which means he's being sarcastic. I don't want Poch. I hate him, says Illa United. Okay, Ollie does not care about United. He cares about his bank account, says Ash87. I don't agree with that. And I'd rather Ollie is a better fit for United. Keep him a few more months, see what happens. He will come good, says Roland Robinson. A little bit of positivity. And the only reason why Sheffield are winning loads of games is just because of their keeper, says Ahmed P. Our club does not care. They will cut more investment at United. We need new owners. The Saudis oil money mark, says Sadiq Rahman. And we're not getting Champions League football. Wake up, says Shaheen Nasser. Well, I don't think I disagree with that. I said it last night. I think there's about a 30% chance of us getting Champions League football, and it may well be through the Europa League. But there are good teams in the Europa League. I do agree with that. But look, somebody did just say there, and I do agree with them. I want top 4 and Ollie out. That to me is the problem at Manchester United. And we can use this scenario, but you can apply it to anything. You can apply it with why we kept Pogba last summer. You can go back to why we sort of delayed getting Mourinho in and waited on Van Gaal. The point is, Manchester United can't and they will, but they shouldn't be being run like this. We shouldn't be going into another closed season where, if I'm the chairman of Manchester United or you're the chairman of Manchester United, you've got this scenario. You've spent some money on Bruno Fernandes. You know Poch will like him anyway, so you know it's a good signing. However, you don't know who your manager is going to be in August. That's the bottom line with United. They don't know who their manager is in August. They hope it's going to be Solskjaer, but if Solskjaer doesn't get European football, which is a possibility, you will have to sack him and get another manager. So Manchester United, again, acting like an amateur football club. We don't know who our manager's going to be. And exactly the same thing happened with Mourinho and Van Gaal. And we did end up with Mourinho, and there was months and months of speculation we were going to get him, and there was negotiations with Mourinho. But I will tell you now, if Van Gaal had got top four, they wouldn't have got Mourinho. He won an FA Cup and they still sacked him, but it was about Champions League football. That is why they got rid of him. So here we are, a few years later, in the same situation again. We come out of January, we're doing very, very badly. There isn't a manager available that many fans think would be a good fit in Pochettino, but there is a manager there that the club, if he gets Champions League football, and maybe even Europa League football, they will stick by him. But this is the problem. The chances of him getting Champions League and Europa League football is probably 50-50. Manchester United's future into next season is basically on the flip of a coin. That is not how a top football club or a top business works. There should be decision making at that football club right now. They should be looking at this and going, you know what? If we keep Ollie, then we can basically plan for the summer. We can have chats with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now and say, look, you're going to be the manager in August. This is what we're going to bring in the summer. What do you think? That can be happening. But what if in late April we get knocked out of the Europa League, top four's already gone? Oh, we've got to go for Pochettino now. Let's wait till the end of the season till we sack Ollie. Let's get Poch in early June. Oh, Poch, what do you want to do? Well, I do like this player, but let me have a look at the squad. Oh, they're all in the Euros. Then we're going on tour. Well, I'll have to have a look in July. Just get me a couple of players in. Yeah, okay. And then we go through, we've got to give him a season again. And it's a wasted summer again. And I don't necessarily have the solution. I do have the solution. I actually think Manchester United, if I was running that as a business, I would have already made the decision who the manager's going to be for next season. It doesn't really matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's no matter what happens, it's Ollie. It doesn't matter no matter what happens, it's Poch. But the fact that United are willing to let another decision wait will affect both managers. Like Pochettino will not know he's going to get the job until maybe May time, which means any plans for signing players has to go on hold. Solskjaer won't know he's keeping the job till maybe May time, and in which his signings won't be signed. So it doesn't really matter. This is the point. It doesn't really matter whether you want Poch or Ollie or any other manager. The fact is, Manchester United are not going to make a decision until May, which means we are a business. We're not a football club. If you think the club have got Ollie's signings lined up when they don't even know if he's going to be manager in May, you're wrong. Have they got Poch's signings lined up? No, because they don't know whether he's going to be manager. And that, to me, is the problem. That we again are going into another close season ill prepared. Zane says, Mark, why don't you go for Zidane? He's doing well at Real. Also, do you think you should have gone for Ancelotti? Look how well he's doing at Everton. I like Ancelotti. I always did like Ancelotti. A lot of people were saying to me he's done, but look at what he's doing at Everton. Look at what he did. The thing about Ancelotti is he's a great coach. He was a great coach at Chelsea. He was a great coach at Bayern. He was a great coach at PSG. He was a great coach at Real Madrid, and everywhere he's been. Napoli as well. He's a great coach. You know, he is. I think he beat. Is he the only manager to beat Liverpool this season with Napoli? So he's a great coach. It's not gone well for him everywhere all the time, but he's a great coach, and I would have given him the job, yeah. Zidane won't come to Manchester United. Welcome to Nick Warren, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Progressive Dad says, wish we could buy players as quick as we could sell them. Lukaku versus Bruno. Yeah. And look, let me just say this. Look, there was another tweet we put out on the United Stand today, which was really interesting. So it's called the 68 Club. And basically what it is after 68 games, Ollie's had 68 games now, so you compare him to a few managers, and the managers we're going to compare him to after 68 games are obviously against himself. Jose Mourinho's first 68 games, Sir Alex Ferguson's first 68. So Matt Busby's in there. Arsene Wenger and Jurgen Klopp's first 68. And this is from Playmaker. They sent me this tweet to tweet out earlier. So it's very interesting. In Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 68 games, his win percentage is 50%. Mourinho's was 59%. Sir Alex Ferguson's was 50%. So Ollie's got the same win ratio as Sir Alex Ferguson, and it's better than Arsene Wenger, who was 47%, but Jurgen Klopp had 51%. Losses, he's had 19. Mourinho only had 10. Sir Alex Ferguson had 14. Wenger 13. Klopp 13. So he's lost way more games than anybody else. Goal difference, 37. Mourinho was 68. That's 31 more goals more. Sir Alex Ferguson was 50. That's 13 goals more. Wenger was 45 and Klopp was 66. So that's nearly another 30 goals. So his goal difference is atrocious. His losses are atrocious. And the other one that I found quite interesting as well was, what did he inherit? You know, he talks about this rebuild. He inherited Manchester United in 6th place from Jose Mourinho. We're now in 8th after a year. Or a year. Well, you could go back to a year and a bit, can't you? So he took over as in 6th. We're in a lower position. Mourinho took over United in 5th. He took us higher. Sir Alex Ferguson took over as in 19th. He took us higher. Matt Busby, not really relevant. They've not put what he took over as at. Wenger took over Arsenal in 3rd. I think he took them higher straight away. I think he did, because he took over in like the 90s, didn't he? And they were quite good in the late 90s. Jurgen Klopp took Liverpool over in 10th. They never went below that. So Ollie, when you compare him to all those managers after 68 games, his goal difference is atrocious, his losses are atrocious, and he's the only one who's taken us from where he inherited to down. So, I just thought that was an interesting thing to sort of draw people's attention to, is that, again, it's damning. It's really, really damning as to what's going on. But I do think the club have got to make a decision. And, the club have made good decisions in the past. They have made some good decisions. I'm not going to deny that. They've made more bad decisions than they've made good decisions. And they've made bad decisions, of course. But they need to make a decision right now. Right now. I don't think it helps us going into next season not knowing what is happening in August. And I think Ollie Inners will say, let's have Ollie in for another season, because it gives stability and they can plan the players that they want to bring in. And Ollie Outers will say, well, look, the evidence is there that no matter what happens, he should be gone in the summer anyway. He's been atrocious. He should be gone in the summer. And I think that's the decision. That's why we have a board. That's why Woodward's paid a lot of money. That's why they should have this decision made. I think for us as fans, we've got every right to say, like I say, let's give Ollie till May. If he gets Champions League football, I would keep him. If he doesn't, he's got to move on. But the business side of things, they've got to think like a business. They cannot go into the summer not knowing who the manager's going to be, because it means any transfers you're working on now are a waste of time. Or we do what we've been doing for the last few years, whereby Poch comes in, but we've already been working on transfers that maybe he doesn't want. It doesn't work. David Walsh says, hi Mark, even Everton are ahead of United now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they in the relegation zone when their new manager took over? They were pretty bloody close to it, David, to be honest with you. They were. And Shady Abanassa says, I'd love Ollie to succeed, but Poch seems the preferred fit. Could you shout out my friend Nabil? Shout out to Nabil. Abanaf Ray says, Ollie's winning ratio is mainly because of the run we had when he first came in. Since then, it's been crap. I don't know. People use his winning ratio from his first 3 months when it suits them, and also it works the other way as well. People want to portray how crap he is, but then don't include the winning run. I think just take it as a whole at the end of the day. And James Kang says, can we argue that the current squad is worse from the time Mourinho left? Players that we sold and have not been replaced. I think so. I think we're worse. I think we've got a worse team than we did when Ollie took over. Yeah, I do. I think Bruno Fernandes, this is going to make people laugh, but this is me. Somebody said to me today, what's the best, and you can all answer this, what is the best signing Manchester United have made since Sir Alex Ferguson left? So, and smash a like on the video while you're thinking about that. Ollie out, Poch in, shout out to Oscar Stinky Pits, says Stephen Mullen. Okay. To me, Manchester United's best signing since Sir Alex Ferguson came in is Bruno Fernandes, and he's only played one game. And a lot of that's about prediction, but it's the signing I'm most excited about. And look, I was excited about Herrera. I was very excited about Pogba, but Bruno Fernandes will be our best signing. Yeah, he will be. and you can come back and you can clip that bit, whatever you like. Bruno Fernandes is going to be the best signing, and it therefore is the best signing we've made since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, which is the big chance for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And what makes me laugh the most is, well, it doesn't make me laugh, I'm just using it as a line to use, but what makes me laugh is that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets the sack, if he'd signed Bruno in the summer, he wouldn't have got the sack. If we'd had Bruno Fernandes all season, we would get top 4. We still might because of him, but we definitely would have done if they'd have bought him in the summer, like they should have done, and that just exposes their incompetence, that they prioritised a centre-back and a right-back over a centre midfielder. If they'd brought in... Because, like, you know what? I really like Harry Maguire. I legit do like Harry Maguire. But you're telling me that we couldn't have waited for Harry Maguire till this summer? You know, we could have not loaned Smalling. We could have... You know, Smalling and Lindelof. Maguire and Lindelof. Is there really a big difference? There is. I think Maguire's better than Smalling, but it's not a huge difference. However, I think Bruno Fernandes in that midfield from August makes a huge difference. What I'm trying to say is we chose to prioritise Harry Maguire over Bruno Fernandes in the summer. Do you think Harry Maguire has made more of a difference in the team than Bruno Fernandes would have done from August to now? You know, we've still lost loads of games. We still had the worst start to the season we've ever had. So defensively, you know, £80 million on a centre-back hasn't made a lot of difference. I'll tell you what, 40, 50 million pounds on Bruno Fernandes in the summer and wait for Harry Maguire for a year would have made a hell of a lot of difference. And you know, the best thing about it is we could have got Koulibaly this summer for 65 million. So, I'm not moaning about United not getting Koulibaly or anything like that, but I do think they should have prioritised Bruno over Harry Maguire, definitely. Your opinions are absolutely sensational. Hell of a lad you are, says Kelsey Pearson. Thank you very much. And don't get praised that much, to be honest, you see, Kelsey. Let's keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. In 3 years, he'll be Klopp 2.0, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League with 105 points. You can clearly see what he's building, says Denzel Ponis Ami. I mean, look, I know a lot of you lot are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out, but I also know a lot of you lot would not have a problem if in 2 years' time we're winning the Premier League and we're in a Champions League final. I don't think you'd be sat there saying Ole out. You would change your opinion, and I know you would. And I wouldn't call you flip-flops. I would say you've changed your opinion because he's changed the way he's managing. He's changed the way we're playing. I think there are some people out there who are still massively behind Ole, and they almost want to be proved right. And they want us to win a title in 3 years and go, all those people who doubted him, I stood by him. It's the most idiotic statement in the world for me, or ideology, because I believe, as somebody who loves Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that anybody who's Ole out, I do get why they're doing it. There is no philosophy. He's making loads of mistakes. Some of the stuff he comes out in press conferences is ridiculous. The team is in disarray. Anybody who's saying he's not the right man for Manchester United at the moment is 100% right. Of course they are. And anybody who's saying he will win us the title in 3 years, they may as well get their crystal ball out and start, go down the local fete and set up a little tent and charge people £5 for you to tell the bloody future, because you've got no idea. There is no idea that Solskjaer will be successful at all. So, I would absolutely love it if he turned this around and went on to become a fantastic manager for Manchester United. But I wouldn't have any guilt for criticising him over the last 6 months because it's justified. But if he turns it around, I'll love it. I think anybody will love it. And look, I'm sat here tonight. A lot of you are saying, I want Poch no matter what. I don't care if we get top 6. I would rather get Poch. That is your right. That is your opinion. I'm saying, because I won't hide from it, I'm saying I would rather get Champions League football than not get anything. And if that means keeping Solskjaer, then I would rather keep Solskjaer. I think it's very important for the club that we are in the Champions League. And I think that needs to be the aim. And I think we can do it. It's by no means nailed on, but I want that to happen. And some people will massively disagree with me on that. Because I know the scenario. Like, I can see somebody in the live comments there saying, well, if I said to you, you can have Pochettino tomorrow, would you take him? Well, that's a hypothetical that's not a reality. I know Manchester United can't get Pochettino till the summer. They can't get any manager I would consider until the summer. So you saying to me, well, you telling me if you could sack Ole tomorrow and get Pochettino in, you wouldn't do it? Well, I don't need to even answer it because it's not going to happen. We've got a manager till May. And it's what whether he deserves it or not. I did a Q&A on Twitter today, and somebody said, if you were likening Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to an animal, what would you do? And without hesitation, I said cat. And people said, what? Because he's a pussy. And I went, no, that's so disrespectful. I said, because he's got 9 lives. He has got till May. Moyes didn't get till May. Moyes was gone. As soon as Champions League football was gone, Moyes was gone. Because you could have an interim manager then, but you can't sack an interim manager. And I know he's the full-time manager, but there's no point. There's no point having an interim manager. We've got to stick with Ole now till May. And I agree with that. And I know a lot of you won't. Let's keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 3 years. I've read that one from Denzel, sorry. And Luca Cantarelli, what a lovely name. He says, I think you should take rival fans' opinions into account. And bottom line is they all want us to keep him because they know we're going nowhere under Ole. Well, Luca, you've almost stolen my thing. It goes back to the days... It goes back to the days of Fellaini. This I used to get a lot. See, I never liked Fellaini as a footballer. I don't know him as a person. He's probably a really nice guy, but as a footballer, because that's what I do, and that's what many fans do. I grew up at a time where footballers were footballers. You didn't really know anything about them in the late 80s and the early 90s, before the Premier League, really, and even in the early years of the Premier League. You didn't really care about what a footballer was married to, or what they were doing, what clothing brand they were doing. It was just about the football. I don't know what's the better time. I mean, football is very accessible now. I love it. I do. But it used to just be about football. So I'm a bit old school, maybe. I judge footballers on football. Call me old school, call me controversial. I judge a footballer on their footballing ability. I've got no interest in whether they write a blog, what charity work they do, how many kids they've got. I'm not interested in any of that. Who they're married to, what clothing line, not bothered. I judge them on their footballing ability. And, I've had people say, you've got an agenda against Matic. I haven't. I just don't like him as a footballer. I find him, it's just not my style of footballer. I don't like Andy Carroll. I just don't like that footballer. So with Fellaini, I was very much like that. I never liked him from day one. I knew what he was all about. I used to have him in my fantasy Premier League team for Everton because he used to get quite a few points. I never wanted him to come to Manchester United because I just don't like that style of footballer. And I think with United, that's where we're at, isn't it, really? It's like, well, there are just certain footballers in that team that I just do not think are good enough. And I think that's how I judge it. That is how I judge it, and I think that's the way that we need to be. I just think that that's the way it should be. It's not about the personality. It's about them as a footballer. To me, I suppose, in a very blunt way, they're just a commodity. They're somebody wearing the shirt of Manchester United, and if they wear it well, we all love them. And if they don't, they get the criticism they deserve. Emery's better than Poch, says Mike LUHG. He's won more trophies. Hope this helps. We're not looking at Emery though. Look. I know we've sort of... I know where a lot of you are on this. I need to do this for a personal reason, just out of interest. Just say yes or no to this in the live comments. If I said to you, and Crick MUFC says, I don't expect this group of players to win every week, but we could play decent football. No reason why we're so awful to watch. That's on Ollie, sadly. If I was saying to you right now, as a snap poll, and Shane's saying yes already, even though I've not asked the question. Would you sacrifice European football? That includes Europa League football. So let's say we're going to finish 7th and not win the Europa League and not win the FA Cup. Would you sacrifice Europa League and European football to get Poch? Or would you rather we got Europa League football, Champions League football and kept Ollie? Yes or no? Would you rather miss out to get Poch, or no, you'd rather we got European football and kept Ollie? Because to me, it is a no. I don't know whether that's the right decision. I'm just giving you what my hunch is. I'm not saying no, I'd rather get European football and keep Ollie because I think that's going to be guaranteed success. I accept there is some sort of short-termism to that. I can only be honest with you. Maybe that's the worst thing for us long term. There's plenty of evidence that it could get worse. I've predicted myself. I don't think we've hit the bottom of the barrel yet. But I think it's a massive risk not to have European football. I think people don't realise the amount of money the club will lose and who owns us. It could get a lot worse. The vast majority of people are, well, no, actually it's about 50-50. You've got a few people saying yes. A few people saying no. It's a 50-50 in the poll, says Smutty. So it's interesting. It is very interesting. And I think what I take from that as somebody who doesn't agree with missing out to get Poch, there is fans who are that fed up with the situation that they would do that. So it is rather interesting. Yeah, definitely. Scott McTominay is over in Marbella training with Twan Thebe. Initially, I thought he was going to be back for the Chelsea game. And in fact, I saw a tweet this afternoon from somebody saying that McTominay is back in training and he's available for the Chelsea game. There's a little bit more to that. I think he might be available for the Chelsea game, but he is training on his own with Twan Thebe. They're not training with the full squad. However, it's only Sunday. I think they're out there till Friday. So if by Wednesday, Thursday, McTominay is training with the full squad, he comes back into the team for the Chelsea game, which just gives us a little bit more depth, doesn't it? And it'd be interesting, Pogba's to come back, but if we are going to play the 4-2-3-1, which Ollie plays a lot, what becomes the midfield three? Bruno's got to be the head of that midfield, and then do you play Fred and McTominay, or does Matic come back into the team? For me, it's Fred and McTominay. Ed and the Glazers aside, where is our style of play, tactics, formation and fluidity on the pitch? That's all down to coaching, and he has been here a year too, says Jason. You know what? My feeling with this at the moment is that I do sometimes struggle with it, but I have to try and give both sides, because I think at the moment that there is a very... I wouldn't call it division. I don't like division in the United fan base. I wouldn't call it division. I just think there are people with different opinions, and I can see both sides. I've got my own opinion, you know what that is, but I can see both sides, and I don't think either side is wrong, and I don't think either side is right. Who I think is wrong is the club. As I said, I just don't think I think the club should know what they're doing in the summer right now. I don't think they should be waiting. They should know right now. And if you're sticking with Ollie, you're sticking with Ollie. And if you're getting Poch, you're getting Poch. Not a lot is going to change in 3 or 4 months. Champions League football should not be, we're going to keep him. No. As that person just said there, and they've nailed it on the head absolutely perfectly. Why should scraping Champions League football over the next 3 months be enough to keep a manager in the job? You should be able to make your mind up over the last year. Have you seen a manager over the last year that can take United over the next 2 or 3 years and build us back into a title winning side? If the club think that's yes, they should already be sticking by him. If they've got their doubts and those doubts are real, they should already be saying, look, if he gets Champions League football, that's even better for Poch to come into, but we're going with Poch or we're going with Nagelsmann. That's what we're going to do. Why can't they do that? That's what, these people are businessmen. People will say, well, they aren't in possession of all the facts. But if they make a decision, they can start buying and they can start making decisions for the summer. Hypothetical, right? If they've decided they're getting Poch in the summer no matter what, they can be talking to Poch right now. Ollie doesn't need to know, saying, what sort of players do you want in the summer? We're going to start making moves for them now. We're going to start putting the feelers out. We want them in quick. If it's Ollie, then they can start making those moves as well. But waiting until May again to see what happens, it's just amateur. It's amateur. And that's my issue. Whether it's keeping Ollie or it's getting Poch or whoever, they should make a decision now, because having a decision in place now is better for the stability of the club. We can't be waiting until May to then act on a whim of, he's not done it, or he's not. Or what if we don't get Champions League football, but we get Europa League football? You're in a halfway house then. Well, is that good enough based on how we've played this season, or actually should he go anyway? We got rid of Van Gaal for that. So why is it suddenly acceptable now? They need to be making decisions, but they don't. It's also airy-fairy. Let's wait about and see what's going to happen. Carson Badley says, if that meant the coaching is completely changed, then yes to no European football. It makes a strong statement to the club where we are. If we lose money, then the Glazers might cause the money it isn't there. They might sell because the money isn't there. Fifth with Bruno is not good enough, says Paul Robinson. I think that I mean, just saying what Paul says there. I mean, I actually am really excited about the next few weeks. I think Bruges, I'd be stunned if we don't win that comfortably over 2 legs. But the next 5 Premier League games and the FA Cup game away to Derby, they're going to be real tests for us. With Pogba coming back at some point in there as well. Maybe Rashford's going to get himself... I've got a feeling Rashford's going to get himself back really quick. I don't know whether that's a good thing. I don't know how it can be a good thing, because if it's true about the injury he's got, it's dangerous. But I think like with McTominay, we're going to see Rashford get back really early as well, which will improve us. Jose got sacked being 8th last year. How come it isn't the same here, says Ali Allian. And I had a dream Bruno scored a hat-trick in the next game, says King T23. Look, I'm not going to talk about the Chelsea game yet. We can talk about that towards the end of the week. But I was looking at that Chelsea team yesterday, and I don't see any reason why we can't go and get a result there, apart from we are our own worst enemy. But if we play to our ability, we can get a result. Shalaby says that Bruges beat Madrid away. Look, never say never, but realistically, we should be winning that. The Europa League's going to be it's going to be tough. Of course, it's going to be tough, and you know we're going to have to be careful about that. But look, just another thing as well. If we're going to keep Ollie, right, and if he gets Champions League football, then you know I can see why they might do that. But if we're going to keep Ollie, one thing I would love to see him do is just take some accountability. I don't know whether anybody watched the game last night where Leeds lost to Forest, and I only watched the last half an hour, but when I turned it on, I was listening to the managers afterwards, and Bielsa afterward totally owned it. He totally owned it. He came out and he basically said, when my players are giving their all, it's down to me tactically where it's all going wrong. And that's what he basically said. He said, look, I'm not putting the blame on any of my players. I'm taking the blame for this because they're giving me everything they can, and they're still coming up short. And that's got to be down to me. I've got to be doing something wrong. When my players are giving everything, I've got to be doing something wrong. And that, to me, is management. That is management. And I just sat there, and I'd already said it before. I think I tweeted it last week. But it was almost perfect timing from Bielsa, because I've actually thought this for a while. Can anybody give me an example of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming out at any point over the last year and taking responsibility? He doesn't do it. Now, Mourinho doesn't do it either, but Mourinho's got a pretty decent CV to believe he doesn't need to do it. Whether he's right or wrong, I think Mourinho, even at United, sometimes should have come out and owned it. But I would like to see Ollie own it sometimes, because I think it would make him even more endearing. We love Ollie because of what he did in a United shirt. I want to start over the next few months. I think we've got him. I would like to see him over the next few months just own it a little bit more. I never feel like, and there's a positive spin to this, I never feel like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has really become Manchester United manager. And some people might think that's quite a critical thing to say. I don't feel like he's ever been Manchester United manager. When he walks out and does his press conferences, when he does his after-match interviews, when he's on the sideline, it feels like he himself doesn't feel he's worthy of it. And I just think he needs to own it a little bit more. And I think he could learn something from a lot of other managers. But we've not played well. If you take ownership of a problem, you can solve a problem. If you ignore a problem and try and just pretend everything's well and, you know, not take ownership of it, then it just stays a problem. We've had enough games this season where Ollie himself has said, I can't fault the lads, what they're doing in training, they're putting the effort in, it's just fine margins. I think, you know, if Ollie came out with a line like that after we'd lost to Burnley and said, look, you know, the lads have given everything there, I've got to look at myself a bit, we've lost a lot, it's the worst start since 1989. He doesn't need to say that because it draws attention to it, but I just think a bit of ownership could be a positive thing, because I've never felt that Ollie has owned that United job. And that's not because I don't think he should have got the job. I do, but I don't think he acts like he feels that he deserves that job. And I think, look, you are the United manager. Maybe you are going to get the sack in May. Maybe you're not. But you may as well, no matter what's going to happen, you may as well grab hold of it and own it. And that means owning the good and owning the bad, because it shows leadership. And if people like Fred are saying there's no leadership in the dressing room, that's because there's no leadership from above. And I think we are all aware that there is no leadership in that football club, and just grab hold of it and give it a go. I mean, look, I don't know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer takes much notice of what fans say. I don't know that he does. I don't. You know, maybe he thinks he's better than that. Maybe he thinks he doesn't need to listen to it. Maybe he listens to it all and doesn't say that. But what I would say is, from a personal point of view, you've got till May. Go out the way you want to go out. Because if you carry on like this, you're going out anyway. So just own it. Own it and go back to the 4-3-3. That's what I would say. 1 holding midfielder, 2 attacking midfielders, and let's just own this shit. Because I'll tell you what, if you could ever recreate what you did in that first 3 months, everybody would be back on side. It would be simple as that. You've bought a player that everyone wants in Bruno Fernandes. Ighalo was an absolutely embarrassing signing, but everybody, myself included, is just, in love with the guy and wants him to do well. So what was a catastrophic last few hours signing has actually spun into a positive well. So own it, and let's go and let's see what we can do. It's going to be difficult, of course it is, but just go out in a blaze of glory. That's what I would do. Own it. Look at some of these managers like Bielsa and Klopp and everything like that, and don't copy them, but just look at how they deal with things, how they take responsibility. Klopp's another one. He takes responsibility for that team. And he doesn't even gloat that much when they win, but when they lose, he'll take responsibility. And I think that is management. Should we buy Adama Traore and Saint-Maximin, says Rachel Quinn? Well, we shouldn't sign both of them, but I think that either of them would give us a right option that we don't have at the moment. In fact, Mario Rangel says Adama would be great right wing for us, Grealish or Maddison in the middle and Jimenez up front, Declan Rice at CDM and sell Pogba, Poch in the summer. I think you were doing so well until you got to Declan Rice, Mario, but everybody else, Grealish, Jimenez, Adama Traore, I think they would improve us. I don't think that snobbery exists around Wolves anymore, where you're like, well, they play for Wolves. I think Jimenez would improve us massively. I think Adama Traore would improve us massively as well. And he's found that consistency. How come some teams are still playing and not on a break, says Gary Dunscombe. So if you don't know, the winter break, which is ongoing at the moment, has basically been split. So what happens is Sheffield United, for example, played today. They won't play next week. They'll be back playing on the 23rd, so they get a 2-week break. United didn't play today. They played last week, they'll play next week, so they get a 2-week break. So instead of a total break, what the Premier League did is they split the fixtures. So everyone gets 2 weeks, but there is Premier League fixtures each weekend. There's a half this weekend, there's half next weekend. That's how it works. It's not whining when you're pointing out facts and sharing opinions, says Bet Davis, Red Devils. Look, in relation to that, we've been doing this for 5 years. I'm not really that concerned about people saying you've got a negative agenda or anything like that. Anybody who watches the channel, anybody who's part of the United Stand community, I have an opinion, but I don't suppress people who have different opinions. If it's in the live comments, if it's a super chat, if it's a fan cam, even I will try and give other sides of the coin, because I think that's very important. So look, let the haters hate. They clearly don't watch the channel. They clearly have their own ideas of it, but you know what this community is about. Whether you've been here ages, whether you've only started watching it tonight, you will have seen that. Yeah, I have my thoughts. My thoughts are, how is it negative? Because some of you would get Poch in now. Some of you would hope that we miss out on European football to get Poch. I'm saying personally, give him till May. Let's see what happens. If he gets Champions League football, I would keep him. But give him till May. Even though I think he might fail, give him till May. So, my opinion is somewhat different to what a lot of people's is. Some people are saying keep him beyond May. And all I'm saying to that is, I think the club needs to make a decision now. There is enough evidence to make your decision. You either stick with him and have a plan to stick with him, or you're already planning to bring somebody else in. But we cannot wait till May to make that decision, because it screws up another summer. Anybody who doesn't understand that, you might not understand that, but transfers, you don't just start picking the phone up on June the 1st. You're doing it now. You're working on stuff now. Transfers are being worked on now by Chelsea, by Liverpool, by Manchester United, well, hopefully Manchester United, Real Madrid. Everybody's working on the deals now because there's so much to a deal. Pogba's deal is probably being worked on now. Whether it's Real Madrid, Juventus, or a new deal with us, it will be being worked on now. They won't wait till June to do it. So if you wait till bloody end of May to find out who your manager's going to be, how can you work on deals when you don't even know who your manager's going to be? And that's, to me, where the club needs to make a decision. Jack Brown 852, I know Pogba is going, but I'm so excited to see Bruno, Pogba and Fred holding. If you look at our first 11, it looks like exciting. Hope we get to see it. It's how much we get to see it, and it's how we use our best 11. I agree. I think Pogba, Fred and Bruno is a great midfield. I think Matic and McTominay give us some depth, and maybe one of those play and somebody else doesn't play. Who knows? But it gives us some depth in the midfield, which was always the problem at the start of the season. We've had a crap midfield for most of the season. That doesn't mean McTominay and Fred were crap. It just meant that people like Pogba were injured. We didn't have Bruno until last week. So yes, we will be a better team on paper in the last few months of the season. And therefore, we should be a better team in results over the last few months of the season, which gives us a chance. But, unfortunately, the last 3 months of the season, you're playing Thursday, Sunday. I don't think you can pick the same team Thursday, Sunday, win the Europa League and get top 4. I think Ollie needs to make a choice. If he just says, I'm picking my strong team in one of them, well, I think we can do it. But is Ollie brave enough to do that? I think Ollie's a manager that tries to go for everything, and that could end up with further injuries. Remember last season, we had an injury crisis in late February, early March. We need to avoid that big time. But we can see. Top 4 should not be the benchmark to let Ollie stay. The Premier League is too inconsistent this season. We'll finish the season with the lowest points tally ever. That alone is enough to let Ollie go. Poch is my only hope. Well, you know what, Shaveen? You're probably right there. Whoever finishes 4th, then they probably will do it with the lowest points tally. I mean, we're averaging 1.4 points a game, so we're sort of predicted we'll get 55 points, and 72 points is normally for 4th. So that would be 17 points less than what normally is. We'll have to wait and see. Please do smash a like on the video. We're very close to 1,000 likes, by the way. Look, if you don't agree with anything that's said today, I don't really think you're a Manchester United fan. I don't. I think we've covered absolutely every angle in a very good way, if I say so myself. So if you've got a problem with anything, I'd love you to call in on the call-in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock and have your say, because I don't really know what your issue is. We've covered everything. We've given every scenario with opinion. I don't know what you want. And we've done it all without really mentioning the Glazers or Woodward. So we've actually been quite intelligent in how we've done it. That's what we do. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Oh, finally as well, Poch has a lot of flaws. Fans won't like it all, says James Murphy. Very, very good. I mean, I don't want to talk about Poch too. I might do a video on Poch this week, actually, just as a hypothetical, because you are very right there. Our United Stand meetup is on April the 2nd in Dublin. We put 300 tickets out on Friday and they all went over the weekend. So we've released another 100 tickets. The link is in the video description. It's April the 2nd, which is a Thursday on the international break. April the 2nd in Dublin City Centre. United Stand meetup in a bar. We've got some exciting guests coming. United Standers and a couple of United Stand fans with blue ticks, which is going to be good fun. I can't say any more than that at the moment, but it's going to be funny, is all I can say. Blue tick, United fan. But the link is in the video description. If you want to get, they go very quickly. So if you are going to be in Dublin on April the 2nd, or you want to be in Dublin on April the 2nd, you want to go over for a couple of nights. It's a fantastic city. I lived there for 3 years. It's a great city. You will love it. You know, just go for a couple of nights or one night, whatever. You'll really enjoy it. April the 2nd. United Stand meetup in Dublin. You've got to be over 18. It says it on the tickets anyway, but you've got to be over 18 because it's in a pub and they're strict on that. But looking forward to it. Get your tickets while you can. Thanks everyone for watching. Pradney Wadke says, if you put this United team in the other top 5 leagues, where do you think we'd stand? How well would Ollie do? Is a Prem an issue for Ollie? I think that the Premier League is quite very much stronger than many other leagues. So I think that you've got to judge Manchester United on the league that they play in. And you look at all the points we've dropped this season. I mean, look, I'm having an absolute disaster on my Manchester United career mode, and I've still got more points than Ollie. I don't even know how that's possible. And I think anybody watching my Premier League, my on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, my Manchester United career mode on FIFA, they don't understand how I've still got more points than Ollie. I got beat by bloody Villa 4-3. I've been beaten by bloody Bournemouth, you know, and I'm still got more points than Ollie. So it's not been a great season. Thanks for watching. Smash a like. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.